Taking a live look at the Blatnik Bridge tonight. Traffic, as you can see, flowing just fine. But earlier today, the Duluth-bound lanes were shut down while crews responded to a semi that tipped over. It took several agencies, including Superior Police, almost 5 hours to get things flowing there again.
In Northern News Now's Maggie Franzen joins us near the bridge with how crews work together to get the semi cleared and traffic moving again. Maggie?
Clearing a flipped semi-truck takes a massive group effort from local police, fire, and Department of Transportation crews. I got a first-hand look at the coordination needed to get Duluth and Superior's connection back in full force.
Wednesday morning, Duluth and Superior police and fire departments rushed to the Blatnik Bridge. While some responders rushed to help those involved in the crash, others immediately began directing traffic away from the area.
One of the more dangerous things in our lives or our jobs is being on the side of a road. Traffic poses a serious hazard to first responders. So we generally position our truck to kind of make a buffer.
Before fire crews can hand the scene over to police, they have to sweep the area for hazardous materials, checking the stability of the overturned truck and searching for active leaks.
So we're watching for fire. If we have gasoline or other fuels leaking that could catch fire, if we have fire already, we'll be pulling hose lines, applying water to that to extinguish a fire.
There was no fire involved with this crash, but the cargo inside of the truck posed a different kind of hazard. Police collaborated with Lake City Towing, calling for prolonged closure of the bridge to safely unload the trailer.
In this particular case, because we did have to remove the materials from the inside of the trailer first, which is about a 2 to 3 hour process according to them, that's kind of the lengthy part of the process today.
Meantime, MnDOT inspectors were in charge of bridge safety. Their goal, to confirm the structure itself was safe before letting drivers return.
The semi-truck on its side, but the community should be aware that there are a lot of parts that go into that, and everything works seamlessly today. So once this reopens, know that it is safe, and there was a lot of hands in making sure that it was safe.
Well, drivers leaned heavily on the Bong Bridge today for the detours and traffic shifts in the Twin Ports, and police say while it caused headaches for drivers, it was also good practice for when the Blatnik Bridge closes down for reconstruction in the near future. Again, the Blatnik will close for about 5 years.